triple adaptation. I made this up because I felt like it. I'm talking about real shit. No, like the 30 times they made Crime and Punishment adaptations. I mean like a chain. Starting at a source, going into a film, that then gets made into a musical, that then gets made into a musical film. Because that's what this video is about. One of those. Mean Girls. Now, Mean Girls is very interesting. Originally a book, Queen Bees and Wannabes. It's a self-help book that Tina Fey adapts into a film. They're very different, obviously. You've got a film that's essentially an actual story, not just a self-help book. It's I guess the book makes its underlying themes of the film. Many things get made into a Broadway musical. You know, you have Beetlejuice, you have that one where Ryan Gosling makes a house that got made into a musical. But with Mean Girls, in 2017, when it got made into a musical, it was also by Tina Fey. And I think that's what really made this triple adaptation possible. Because Tina Fey made this musical, she was then able to bring it back into a film. Which is odd, you know, going from a film to a musical and then just making another film again about it. And that's obviously with 2014, written by Tina Fey. You know, well known for roles like The Muppets Most Wanted. Mean Girls 2014 is the third in an adaptation line, being adapted off something else, which is adapted off something else, which is adapted off something else. Obviously, everyone knows what Mean Girls 2023 is, because every time you see that poster, you think, I didn't know Olivia Rodrigo had a new album out. Now, Mean Girls is what I would call a traditional adaptation chain, going from one project to another, all of which being directly inspired by the last. From my extensive, very intelligent research, as you can tell, I wear glasses, therefore I'm intelligent. This is the only time we can get this, apart from kinda some other things. The first one of these I want to talk about is Tick Tick Boom. The source material is just Jonathan Larson's life. Eventually he takes his life, makes some stuff, makes it into a musical, one-man musical act, and then this is where me kind of lying comes into it. Eventually you get the revival of Tick Tick Boom, which on paper, you're just bringing something back. That's not adapting it, but I think you could argue how different it is to the original. It's gone from a one-man act to now a three-man act, and also it's much larger in scale than just your man on the piano. I think you could classify it as an adaptation. And then obviously you've got the Netflix 2021 film Tick Tick Boom with Andrew Garfield, directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda. That creates a good triple adaptation chain, if you'll ignore my gaps in my logic. I think a better example of this triple adaptation chain, again regarding a musical, is Wicked. Originally you've got The Wizard of Oz. You kind of got to stretch you with this, but you've got a piece of paper. Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. That's the original book. I own it. Obviously, the book gets rebranded just to Wicked with the Broadway cover to sell more copies, but that's technically, I guess you could see it as adaptation. I think it's more of a revision, but it's either way, it changed the original story, but you could also just watch The Wizard of Oz and watch the upcoming Wicked film, and they probably would fit together pretty well. After that, we obviously have the Wicked musical, very successful adaptation of that book. And now you've got the two-part films, the first part coming out at the end of this year. That's a pretty good triple adaptation chain. One of the most important parts of triple adaptations, I think makes them so interesting, that I've made this video for, is how uncommon they are, and I think I can explain why they're so uncommon. Obviously you can see a trend coming up with most of these. You've got either, you know, an original film that then gets original book, then gets made into something else. That's the only way it happens, but it's really specific with Mean Girls, where it can, you know, bounce backwards and forwards from different mediums. If you kind of throw this out of order, like you've got Wizard of Oz book and then another book, and then got the musical and the film, it gets a bit messy. triple adaptations have been very close to happening multiple other times in history before Mean Girls. You've got stuff like The Color Purple. You got the original novel in '82, then gets made into a Steven Spielberg film in '85, and then you get the musical. That's where it kind of gets thrown off. The musical is based off the book, not the film, but then you got a new film based off the musical. Again, this happens with Matilda. You've got Roald Dahl's Matilda book, you've got your original film, but then there's the musical of Matilda, which again jumps over the film, adapts straight from the book. And then obviously that musical then got a film recently in 2022. That's why triple adaptations is so uncommon, because you got cases where they get close, where you get a book to a film, and the issue is the film is ignored in the case of the book. Why Mean Girls works is the original book is just not Mean Girls. It's essentially inspiration more than an adaptation. Even though Wikipedia says adaptation, so I'm claiming it is. And if you want to get more confusing, this was so annoying to research and write all down. Goddamn Shakespeare ruins everything. You got Romeo and Juliet, which got adapted into West Side Story, which is modernizing that tale, and then you got a Spielberg film, and then you got the original film as well. You know, it's an adaptation change, but it's messed up. And the thing is with Shakespeare, a lot of his work gets brought into the modern day and adapted in that way, and then that gets made into film. And that just makes so many, but you never quite can get that original pure triple adaptation idea that I'm talking about. Another point that's really interesting is that I think this could go further. I think we could get a quad adaptation if done in very specific circumstances. That being, you got your original book, maybe like some classic Shakespeare thing, that then gets adapted into a modern book. That book gets made into a film, that film gets made into a musical, that musical gets made into a musical film. You've got a quad adaptation chain, but you know, that's take fucking ages. Now, the main focus of the video was, of course, Mean Girls being the one time it's happened, but I think it can happen again, and I think it can happen pretty soon. But one thing, just let me take you on a trip. Margot Robbie. I think, since technically the Barbie film is the adaptation of the Barbie brand, you can have that brand, you can have the film, which you can then expand into a musical, be it on Broadway or the West End, and then maybe give it 20 years, put it back into the film world, and then you've got yourselves another triple adaptation chain. I think this is, probably the most likely that we'll see in our lifetimes. I believe that's everything I wanted to go over. If you think you found a longer adaptation chain, please tell me. It would be really interesting. I did, do a lot of research with this. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but if I did, I'll obviously follow up. Make sure you subscribe and like the video, because that means I probably will continue doing this, and I hope I can continue doing this. Anyway, have a good day, have a good night. See you when I see you.